This emergency meeting of the Frederick County Board of Elections is called to order.
Here.
This emergency meeting of the Frederick County Board of Elections is called to order. Is Shirley online? It has been determined that we have a quorum with Ted Neves, Nate Wilson, Vice President, and we're waiting for Shirley McDonald, our secretary, to be online. We also have present Council Dan Loftus, and I'd like to thank the staff for coming in today to support us. Thank you very much. Please, and I'm Mary Costello. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes or to the minutes of the March 4th meeting? Then may I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed
Nay.
or abstaining? The minutes of the March 4 meeting are approved. Are there any? Well, no changes to the agenda. We are going to move forward now to a discussion of the verification of the referendum petition. And I'd like to make an opening statement. On January 21st, a petition was filed for advance determination of sufficiency and approved as to format only with the following statement. An advance determination relates to format only, and approval of the format of a referendum petition does not constitute a binding determination that, quote, the use of the petition for the subject matter of the petition is authorized by law. On March 19th, the petitioners submitted 22,000 plus signatures for verification. Upon receipt of these signatures, election law 6210CI imposes a strict 20-day timeline for completing the 6206 determination and verification. This emergency meeting was called to bring members up to date and find a path forward which complies with election law, specifically 2206, 207, and 210. Waiting for a regularly scheduled meeting would risk missing that deadline, and any delay would interfere with critical primary preparations. We are committed to providing transparency and addressing information that a decision has already been made. Nate?
Under a Maryland election law 6-206, there's a requirement to make a determination of sufficiency before moving to signature verification. Mr. Loftus, I believe you've had contact with the petitioner as well as county attorneys. Could you fill us in on that?
I can, and with your permission, I'd like to stand up at the podium so I could also address the audience and the board, if that's with your approval, Madam President.
Of course, Mr. Loftus, thank you.
Brian, will you be able to capture that? Yes, sir. Good afternoon, members of the election board, and good afternoon to members of the public. My name is Dan Loftus, and I'm counsel to the Board of Elections. I have a prepared statement that I'd like to read to the board and to you. This is my notes and comments that I'd like to address to the board. When the committee, and I'm presuming most of you are part of that committee, when you submitted your petition for referendum, as Madam President said, that was for an advanced determination at that time. As you know, that put you on notice, in a detailed memorandum that the county attorney advised the county council and the county executive that the subject matter of the petition, the ordinance, is not a law subject to referendum under the county charter. The petitioners have said that the ordinance is a law subject to a referendum under the county charter, but I have not seen any memorandum stating that position. All I've been reading is the paper that you have some attorneys and that was your position. Nonetheless, I did speak with your attorney, his name is Paul Flynn, and I talked to him on Friday. And the issue that we have here is a determination of whether there's going to be counting and validation. That's it. That's all we're going to make this determination with the board. Am I correct?
Correct.
At that time, after consulting with the members of the board, the election director, the county attorney, and the petitioner's attorney, that's the issue before this board. And we're going to defer any deficiencies, if there are deficiencies, till later. I think that Mary mentioned we have a 20-day deadline, and that's important. And after counting and validation, if there are not enough signatures for the petition to move forward, then the issue of any deficiencies is moot. However, if after counting and validating the signatures, there is enough signatures to move this forward, then we'll determine whether there's any deficiencies. That is the agreement that I reached with the attorney for the committee and the attorneys for the county. They both agreed that they would like to count and validate first, and if there's any deficiencies, address that later. Now, I also have assurances from your attorney that if there are deficiencies, and I'm not saying there is, but if there are any deficiencies, we're not going to be, we, meaning the board, and the election director, is not going to be hamstrung by any claims of a waiver that they've made. Basically, it's, we will count and validate, and then make a determination if there's any deficiencies. That's my advice to the board. And members of the board, if you have any questions for me?
Is it not possible to file now for a declaratory judgment so that that would be settled once the verification is completed?
We could do that, Madam President. But if you do that, you're going to lose some of those 20 days.
No, we would go ahead with verification.
We could, I want to discuss that with the attorneys for the committee and for the county
Okay.
attorneys. But that is something that we're not addressing right now.
Okay.
All we're addressing is the board going to allow counting and validation at this time and defer if there's any deficiencies to a later. That's my advice to the board.
So,
Questions from the board?
I'd like to make a motion, per council's advice, that we direct the director today to make a no deficiency but deferring on legality. Is that my, note as to format in the petition, not written, and deferring on legality determination at this time.
Sort of.
Okay.
Sort of. If I may, the motion would be to direct the election director, the chief election official, as they have that stated in the statute, to start the counting and validation and defer any deficiencies
Yeah.
until after the counting has concluded.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation
Yeah.
as a motion.
And that lines up, provided that the required notice and begin verification under 207, yes. That would be my motion for the
So
board.
you have that language now?
Well,
Restate it.
yeah. Motion that we direct the chief election official, being the election director today, to make a defer on legality and as council, and move to verification and counting with that. So we're going against each other,
It's
but
sort of correct, but I want to make sure I'm clear on this. That the motion is to direct the election director to count and validate
yes,
and defer any deficiencies till after the counting has been completed.
yes, defer 26-208.
Well, it could be any of them.
Yeah,
It could be any.
yeah.
I mean, is that clear the way I?
Yes.
Yes, and with that said, I'd request board discussion followed by public comment from the 16 members of the public that signed up, should their comment pertain to this motion prior to us voting as a board, and that would be Madam Director, I would say that the board can address, and then you'll be next for discussion.
Oh, me?
And did you have,
I do have something
Okay.
to say.
so I'd like the board to make any comments prior as part of that motion,
Mr. Neese?
but there's a motion,
Okay.
so I don't know if we need to have that seconded before we go into discussion.
I'll second the motion, and let's move to discussion. I don't really have any comment.
Yeah, I'm
Mr. Salmon.
fine. I'm fine with the motion, as it
Okay.
is. As restated by council.
Yes, as we stated by council, more
And
eloquent.
do we have that language?
Yeah, I'll watch it on there and do that.
Send Director Barbara Wagner.
We need to have a vote.
Thank you.
No, we're
We're
moving to
going to
discussion.
hear from Barbara and then hear from the public, and then we will vote.
Okay.
Members of the board, board president, vice president, council, I am happy to attend this emergency Sunday board meeting to discuss the data center referendum petition. As you can see, through overflow and this is the one thing on everybody's mind this morning, on this beautiful Sunday morning. So thank you all for being here. This delay is leaving my staff with only 18 days to verify over 22,000 signatures, and as you all are well aware, and along with preparing for the primary election, which has taken place in a mere 2.5 months, I really think that this is I thank you for doing this meeting today in that respect. As the election director and chief election official for Frederick County, Maryland, it is my position that I have discretion to verify and count signatures for making a legal determination of sufficiency pending further review. Along those lines, my staff and I have actually been planning and preparing for this petition work for several weeks now. And I believe that the verification and counting of signatures is in the interest of a fair and orderly management of the elections. I plan to continue until legal authority has made its statements known in writing, and I do so in order for us to meet our mandatory 20-day deadline. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. If there are no further discussion from the board members, I have a list of people. I don't know the order, so I'm going to go in the list in the order that it's given to me. First of all is Milton Allen.
Thank you for having this meeting on a Sunday so that more members of the public can attend than would normally happen during a normal business day. I was a circulator for this petition. I collected, someone could probably tell me how many, I lost count. But this issue has clearly become something that the people of the county have expressed their will to have a vote on. So I just want to implore you to go forward with this plan to count and validate all the signatures, and I hope however it happens, I'm not the lawyer, I'm not the legalese, so however it happens, 10.7% of the registered voters of the county, if that's the total number of signatures that are found valid, has said that they want a vote on this. So I think the counting must go forward, validating the signatures, making sure they're all okay and we've met the minimum number, whatever is required. And this has to go to the voters this year, and I appreciate the need to count them in the short time you have. So I also want to thank the staff who's doing the counting, and I know it's a lot of work, but we the people appreciate it, and I think it's a great way to do local democracy and keep our system of government functioning by engaging with everyone in public, and yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you. I need to remind you that there is a 3-minute limit for public comments. Next on the list is Susan Jacinto.
Jacinto.
She's not.
If I may, there's a lot of people in the hallway that didn't, I came in late because I didn't know that we as speakers had a right to come through, so I don't know if they can announce those names if they're not.
We'll move on to the next person and perhaps you could check. In the meantime, Brennan Thomas. Brennan Thomas. We'll come back to them. Karen Miller.
She's not here now.
Gregory Miller. David, Dan Empion. Forgive me if I've mispronounced your name.
That's okay. I'm Dan Yampieri. I live in Mount Airy. I want to thank you, Madam Board President, Mr. Vice President, and the board for meeting on Sunday. I echo the other gentleman that has made this meeting more accessible to the public. I'm here because of this recent letter urging the board to count and verify the signatures. I want to be clear about something. This issue matters to the public. The responsibility belongs to you, and it really needs to be carried out independently. There is the ongoing argument, as council discussed, that the zoning map change is not subject to a referendum based on this classification as a resolution rather than a law. But that's a separate legal question, so your role is clear. To follow the law, to administer the process independently so that we can meet this 20-day deadline. So let's get counted, because public trust in our elections so depends on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Brent Simmons.
Hello, my name is Brent Simmons and I live in Monrovia, and I encourage the Board of Elections to go forward with the counting of the votes and putting this on the ballot and let the courts decide whether it is subject to a referendum. According to the charter in 202, the powers, all of the legislative powers which the county may exercise under the state of Maryland Constitution and laws of the state are vested in the council, subject to the powers retained by the people of the county as set forth in section 308 of the charter. Section 308 of the charter is the referendum, and it lists those items that are not subject to referendum. And this ordinance is not listed as one of those. So therefore, according to the chart, this should go to the charter, this should go to referendum. I know that there's a talk about a resolution versus a law or an ordinance, in the county council's most recent updates, the definition of a bill, which a bill in the charter must be in place before there is a law. By definition, in the county council, as of January of 2025, a bill is defined as means any proposed act of the county council resulting in a law or ordinance. It may not mean a resolution that is intended to have the effect of the law. What is under referendum, as provided on the petition here, is for ordinance number 26-01-001. Therefore, by definition of the county council and the charter, an ordinance is a law, and a bill that generated that is anything that leads to an ordinance. So this is subject to referendum by charter, by the county council bylaws, and therefore I ask you to count and put this on the ballot for referendum. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the lady who just came in, are you,
Susan Giacinto.
would you come forward for your comment?
Susan Giacinto, Frederick, Maryland. I'm here today to say we collected 22,000 signatures. 22,000 people are expecting to have this move forward and be on a referendum. We would still be going. We'd be up to 30,000 by this weekend if we didn't stop, okay? We were just rolling. Everybody wanted to sign this petition. I was out there for 7 weeks. I collected over 400 signatures on my own. Of those 400, I would say about 20 people walked away and didn't want to sign. People, the more they knew about it, the more they came to the places where we were. I walked in parks, I was everywhere. Everybody, and so many young people, younger than me people. Was very aware of this. They didn't need explaining, they didn't need anything. They jumped on it, they wanted to sign. We're expecting this board to move this forward properly. We don't want our taxes going to a paid lawyer, our money to pay a lawyer to go up against us. This is the will of the people. We spoke when the weather was ice, cold, freezing. This came out the day before our ice storm. Everybody knows this. It was hard for us to get out. Businesses in Frederick welcomed us in. The streets were abuzz. People saw you with your clipboard and said, "Is that the petition for the data center? I want to sign it." Let's move this forward. Let's not, people are counting on the government to work the way it's supposed to work. We have enough problems elsewhere we're all aware of. Let's make Frederick County government work the way it's supposed to, please. Thank you.
Winston Mann?
I'll make this short. You guys know me every month talking about cleaning the voter rolls. I was actually one of those people that was not aware of this issue till yesterday. And I can tell you from what I can see, this is a truly bipartisan issue. I highly recommend that the board do what I think you're going to do and vote to approve that these counts start immediately and this job gets finished, and the board do whatever it can to prevent any kind of illegal finagling to prevent this from being on a referendum in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick Carrera?
Good afternoon, I'm Nick Carrera. I live on Scenic Thurston Road. I was a collector of signatures for the petition. I was not optimistic at the start that we could make 15,000, so I was amazed at getting 22,000. I saw a high level of awareness. For uncertain signers, I explained that the referendum was neither a promise to promote data centers nor to stop them, but only to reconsider a decision that was made in haste without a full hearing on some very important issues. Most signers, though, needed no persuasion. Many had come to my location on purpose just to sign, and several intense signers ended up lecturing me on such issues as power. Hey, I'm not done yet. Such issues as power, water, environmental damage, and loss of farmland. There's no doubt that data centers and the decision on an expanded overlay is a big concern for a large number of voting citizens. With this, as with any controversial action, it will be better accepted if the public can see that their concerns have been heard and fully considered. The haste to decide on the expanded overlay has left many convinced of just the opposite, that their concerns were not heard and considered. I think the county would do well not to oppose the referendum. To oppose it by claiming a dubious technicality will not go down well and is likely to foster in voters' minds. Our county officials deal with many issues and mostly decide them fairly and for benefit of the county. This was not the case with the data center decision. It was made in haste and many important concerns were not satisfactorily addressed. Officials, therefore, now risk being judged on the basis of this single but very important issue. A full and fair consideration of that decision, whatever the subsequent outcome, could ease things all around. It would still leave some unhappy, whatever the decision was, but at least they could take satisfaction that it was fairly considered and not judge their government too harshly. The board will determine if the petition is valid, and I urge that the county accede gracefully to a referendum without making the fuss it now threatens to make. If the referendum passes, I hope they will comply faithfully with it. That way, things will go better all around.
Thank you. Let's go back. Has Brendan Thomas Brennan Thomas appeared? Or Karen Miller? Brent Simmons? Brent, you spoke. Yes, thank you.
I'll speak again.
Do you have anything further to say?
Actually, if I could just clarify. And thank you. I don't think I took my full 3 minutes, but I know that there's a question as to whether this is subject to referendum. And again, this is an ordinance. There was 2 things that were passed. One was a resolution that may or may not be subject to referendum. But what is referendum is an ordinance. An ordinance by law is by definition is law. And again, through the county council, they have adopted a definition of a bill, meaning that if it leads to an ordinance, then it was a bill that generated it. So this is a law that is subject to referendum, and I ask again that you continue on. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Jacoby.
Hi, I'm Dan Jacoby. I live in Frederick. First, I want to say thank you for taking this process seriously, and I'm personally confident that whatever you work out is a process for getting these signatures verified will be fair and honest and orderly, and I'm thrilled to be able to say that, so thank you. Now, talking about whether an ordinance is a law. Section 308 of the county charter begins, except for the following, a law or part of a law enacted pursuant to this charter may be referred to the voters, blah, blah, blah. Then there's 4 exceptions, but we're gonna put a pin in that for the moment. County attorney's claiming that this is an ordinance, not a law, and it's called an ordinance, and it was passed by the council, but not signed by the county executive. And the charter in 308 says a law can be overturned. That's why the county attorney says this shouldn't be allowed. And Brutus is an honorable man. But section 207 of the charter says in part, quote, the council shall establish by ordinance a compensation review commission every 4 years, close quote. Now this is called a resolution on the actual document. I know, I have the 2 documents from 2020 and 2024, but the charter in 207 says it's an ordinance. And therefore, being an ordinance, it should be automatically exempt from referendum. Now, going back to 308, one of those 4 exemptions is for a law creating the Compensation Review Commission. If it's automatically exempt, we don't need a special exemption. Furthermore, in 308, it says a law establishing the Compensation Review Commission. So when it's calling an ordinance in 207, it's calling a law in 308. Therefore, the only way we can resolve all this is to say an ordinance is a law is an ordinance, and a resolution is both. Yeah, so I'm confident that this will not pass. This attempt to challenge the petitions by being an ordinance just won't pass. And I am confident that of the 22,000 plus signatures, that you're gonna find at least the minimum required number. And we'll move this forward and the voters will get their choice. But in the meantime, I wanna say, yeah, rest assured, courts aren't gonna stop you. This won't be found deficient because it's an ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jay Kaminsky?
Hi, I'm Jay Kaminsky. I'm from Newmarket, Maryland. I am so excited that the public got 22,000 signatures in such a short period of time during the weather. I've done petition drives for the last 6 years, and that's very impressive. I have a different approach to this. Once it goes to account, you have 18 days to verify 22,000 signatures, and if it's legally possible, I'd like to volunteer my time and be an impartial person counting and verifying the signatures. And that's the only reason I came.
Thank you, Mr. Kaminsky. Steve Potteach?
Hello, my name is Steve Poteet. I voted in the county for over 60 years, and I've never missed an election, so this is really important to me. I want to say thank you for considering this important issue for Frederick County. Over 22,000 registered voters of every political persuasion have shown their strong concern for this county's future by signing the petition for referendum. While we as signatures collectors sought people out, most were well informed, deeply engaged, and committed to defending their right to be heard. This referendum effort is an important opportunity for democracy. Few citizens for democracy, for citizens to challenge decisions that have been made by elected officials who have ignored their views. Please count the petitions, confirm the referendum, and let's move on with true democracy. I want to thank you all very much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Jill Sullivan?
Hi, my name is Jill Sullivan. I live in Adamstown. I have a little bit more to say today than I'm probably going to say because a lot of this has been covered, but the big thing for me, and I'm sure a lot of these people, is that there were 22,000 people, more than that, who took their time to sign these petitions. It's 22,000 people who say what we want to say. And I can go on about how this is a true bipartisan issue. There are people from all ends of the political spectrum who believe in this. You don't get that in today's climate. So I'm just going to ask one question. Are the people going to get a voice? Thanks.
Thank you. Mary Perry? Kevin Sellner?
Kevin Sellner, I live here in Frederick, on East Fifth Street. I came here hoping to try to convince you, and thank you for being here and calling this meeting again on a Sunday when people can be here, to be here and to bring up the challenge that's being put forward by the county council that the ordinance is not cannot be challenged because it's not a law. And Mr. Simmons and Mr. Jacob, have both stated within the charter, it's pretty obvious that in fact the ordinance is a law, and therefore it should be viewed as non-challengeable or challengeable by a referendum. And the examples I'll bring up are the adequate public facilities ordinance. We live and die by that adequate public facilities ordinance. Developers can only build if they have adequate schooling, they have adequate roads, et cetera, et cetera. That's an ordinance. By law, the developer, building community must meet those requirements of the APFO. Well, the same now is true for this ordinance. The county council passed it. It was not an acceptable ordinance by at least 22,000 people. And maybe I shouldn't say that, maybe by 20,000 of the 22,000, because it is a bipartisan issue, but some people may have signed just to have a right to vote against it if they chose. But at least they stepped up and said, as an ordinance, we would like to challenge this and be able to say, we the people support or do not support the ordinance. The overlay zone was done with serious objections. Unfortunately, the Winchester Hall doesn't hold 22,000 people. But there were so many people there that they had to have 2 overflow rooms each time the council came up with this overlay zone being brought up. When the public spoke at these meetings, it was as if there were 5 members who were tone deaf. They looked at you, they said, check, thank you, your 3 minutes is up, and you sat down. Overwhelmingly, the public voiced their concerns to keep the overlay zone out of the decision and to stick with the Adamstown East Alco site as a trial basis. We've said, okay, data centers can come in to the East Alco site. Let's find out if it works. Let's find out if the promised revenue is there. Let's find out if the noise is going to be as bad as we all think it is and what Loudoun County's experienced. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you. Meredith Stafford?
Hello, my name is Meredith Stafford. I live in Ballinger Creek. I was a signature collector, and I'm a proud member of the Frederick chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. I want to thank the election board for their commitment to count and verify the signatures on this tight deadline. I agree with them with allowing them to get started now so that deadline can be met. And I have faith in the election board's ability and resolve to do so. My concern is with Brad Young, Renee Knapp, Jessica Fitzwater, and their lawyer, who is here today. All of them, and you, sir, should know what you're going up against. So that's over 22,000 signatures, compared with in 2022, the last election, the general election, Jessica Fitzwater got 53,291 votes. Renee Knapp got 50,218 votes. Brad Young got 54,172 votes. Keegan Ayer got 10,548 votes. Duckett got 12,327 votes. Carter received 13,418 votes. This was in the general election in 2022. So perhaps the county council should consider whether or not to continue their dubious legal opposition to putting this referendum on the ballot. The primary is in June. Thank you.
Have I missed anyone?
Yes.
Asked for public comment.
I was at line.
What? Oh, yes. Diane Fouché. Yes, sorry. Thank you. Sorry, that name was added toward the end.
No, that's okay. I double checked. I got it in time. I don't
Thank
know.
you.
I sent it to the right place even, so.
You did indeed.
My
Thank
name
you.
is Diane Fouché, and I really wrote this yesterday, just to make sure that you guys are reminded that you're an independent agency for a reason. So many great things said here today, but this is an unprecedented bipartisan support of this. You never see anything like this. Even the waste energy, this is so much greater than that was seen before. The support of this referendum is a clear indicator of the people's will that was disregarded by the overlay decision. And I wanted an opportunity to suggest that the Board of Education really? I'm as nervous as you are. There's so much electric. It's exciting to see democracy in action, right? I'm gonna say that the Board of Election lent no credence to the letter that was issued by the county executive and the county council president. It was unethical and an incredibly poor decision on their favor. It was a poor decision that they made to send that. But frankly, the one thing I wanted to say today was that using the people's money to obtain outside counsel to fight the people is probably the most reprehensible thing I've ever seen in government. So I want to urge you to stand your ground, make your decision as long as it's independent and fair, and you know that the people are spoken for, then that's what the job of the Board of Elections is, because you're for the people, right? So that's all I wanted to say today, was to make sure that the decision that you make is in favor of the people that spoke.
I think we have heard from everyone who was present. It has Shirley joined
She's
online.
been on, yeah.
Shirley, is there anything you would like to add?
No.
Okay, thank you. Then we have a motion. Perhaps we should.
You don't want me to restate that.
I'm afraid.
We have a record of it.
We have a record of
We
it.
do.
If we need to hear
Does
it.
anyone need to hear the motion again? No. Okay. All right, we have a motion. And do we have a
We
second?
did have a second, yeah.
A motion was made by Mr.
I need to hear the motion, Mary.
So, all right, Nate.
Can I have a moment to go back and? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just one.
Yeah.
We tried 3 different links before I got on.
We're glad you're here now.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for keeping the 3 minutes.
You want that?
No.
I just wanted to see what
Somebody sometimes, I don't know what they do even whining I wonder what they're happening for out there.
While we're waiting, I want to thank you for the civil way this has been addressed, and for your presence today and for your interest in the work of the Board of Elections. We welcome your monitoring of what we're doing.
Thank you.
Sorry to put you on the spot. it's good to make sure that we have the right wording. Diane has that book going Hope everyone has plans to enjoy the rest of this beautiful day.
Having a cookout with our son.
Enjoy.
Who's going to do the counting?
I beg your pardon?
Who's going to do the counting? Are you looking for volunteers like?
It will have to be staffed by law, yes.
So you're
And they already have the process, you know, they've been preparing for it ever since this question came up. So they're ready to go, and they'll get it done.
You have, well, I guess if you do 1,000 a day, you'll get through the wall.
Well, that gets us 18 at this point.
What?
That gets us to 18 at this point.
I don't know if that process is gonna be launched.
Or just over the minimum requirement?
That's a great question.
Yes. My guess is they're supposed to.
Yes, Jen.
What are my chances, maybe another volunteer, Winston and volunteer also, of allowing us to help you count the votes and verify the votes?
No, it must be done by staff.
Has to be done by staff?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Can you read?
Mr. Loftus,
Yes, it has to be staff.
it has to be done by staff.
I can't certify me or has to be staff.
We cannot, but thank you for the offer, we
I worked as
appreciate
a
it.
campus survey before, as you know.
Yes, I know. Well, you would recognize the process then with the batches and
That's what I'm
the.
saying, I have the experience, so if you need any help, just let me know.
I volunteered, but they won't tell me that I was biased because I was a circulator. I collected petition signatures,
Yeah, can I?
so I can't be unbiased.
Well, determination, but also
You would,
sufficient.
I wouldn't qualify as unbiased.
were it,
That's for me.
were that allowed, you would take an oath and
I would, but-
you would be required to,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's,
And we're sure that you would abide by it.
yeah, believe me. Yeah, no, I think
Sufficiency on legal or sufficiency and
legal, not legal. There's gonna be an inherent bias. Because they're gonna want, signatures to be valid.
Until after the county.
I don't know.
That's the most important.
In any case, it's not something that we need to
It's
concern ourselves.
maybe a fun academic discussion, you know, yeah. Yeah. No, that's it. Sure.
It's gotta be just what you said.
I know.
That's what I meant.
No, the state doesn't do that. They don't have guidelines. But their policy, instead of that, it sounds like lazy.
Well, I thought it too.
Well, it makes sense if you need 10 signatures, you've got letters. I'm trying to call them Jay.
It is, that was said.
For any deficiencies.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Turn the air conditioner on. It's too cool.
At some point, he can open the door, we get the air conditioning from inside. Well, it's definitely cooler out there than it is in here.
And it feels like it just got Thank you, Lord.
Yes. That's the mission.
Okay. All right, we're ready.
Do we want to reread this?
Okay. The motion is per council advice to direct the election director or chief election official to start counting and validating signatures and defer any deficiencies until after the counting has been completed. That is the motion. It has been made and seconded. I'd like to call on each member to vote individually. Mr. Needs?
Aye.
Mr. Sal?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Ms. McDonald?
Aye.
And Mary Costello, I vote aye. The motion is passed, and verification of signatures will begin
Monday morning,
first
8
thing
a.m.
tomorrow at 8 a.m. We're recording. There was a question about whether or not the public are allowed to view this process.
This is Maryland voter registration information. It is a bunch of PII, and we cannot let the public see that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. Is there any further discussion or business to conduct? Then I'm calling for, yes, scheduling of the next meeting has already been done for, I don't have the date, for April 1st, April 1st, April Fool's Day. And we will be here at 2 o'clock in this office for the regular meeting and a regular agenda. And I'd like a motion now to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Now, disclosure.